The film begins in Miami, with detectives Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett driving through the streets on their way to an event. Marcus complains about feeling nauseated, and Mike allows him to leave quickly to buy some ginger ale. Marcus orders a hot dog, Skittles, and ginger ale. Then a gunman breaks in to attempt to rob the establishment, but before Marcus can move the attacker's arm, Mike arrives and reprimands him for grabbing snacks. Mike then shoots the gunman in the leg. The two then head to Mike's wedding, where he is marrying his physical therapist Christine. They are joined by the late Captain Howard's daughter. Marcus collapses during the festivities after suffering a near-fatal heart attack. As his friends and family call for help, Marcus sees himself by a beach where Howard is standing by a tree, approaches Marcus and tells him it's not his time. Marcus awakens in the hospital after a few weeks, with a renewed appreciation for life and an exaggerated feeling of trust in his mortality. He arrives home to Mike, Christine, and the rest of his family, who are all cheering his return. But Marcus is irritated to discover that Teresa has removed all of his snacks in order to start him on a healthy diet. A former DA man named James McGrath meets with a cartel banker in Miami and instructs him to transfer funds to a Captain Howard-named account. After the procedure is completed, McGrath has one of his henchmen shoot the banker's bodyguard, and then the banker's girlfriend holds the gun and shoots the banker and herself. Soon, news breaks that Howard is being posthumously framed for his involvement with cartels. Mike and Marcus go to the station to address the higher-ups who feel Howard is corrupt. Judy arrives, attempting to get herself on the case while also threatening to Mike that if she ever comes across Armando, she will kill him in retaliation for killing her father. Mike and Marcus subsequently see Armando in prison and discover that Howard was targeted after his prior victims were killed due to his efforts against the cartels. He doesn't recall McGrath's name, but he remembers his face from working with Armando's mother, so he recognizes him. McGrath and his goons are attempting to continue their work, but once they try to get into Howard's accounts, they trigger a failsafe that sends video messages to Mike and Marcus from Howard. In it, he claims that he knows they're seeing this if he's dead, and that he's being set up to take the blame for something that happened over 20 years ago. Howard tells the two to follow the Coke bottle giant, meaning a former informant of theirs named Fletcher. Mike and Marcus head to Fletcher's club to try to speak with him. He is aware that they have come on Howard's behalf, but before he can tell the two what they want to know, McGrath shoots Fletcher in the head, as Marcus had already pointed his gun at him to force him to speak. McGrath walks away as his gunmen pursue Mike and Marcus. Mike has a panic attack during the shootout. The gunmen escape before Rita and her officers arrive. Mike prevents Marcus from letting her know that they are going off a tip from Howard. The guys then take surveillance pics and footage to Kelly and Dawn, who help get a scan code unlocked, containing another message from Howard. He goes on to say that he was working a cartel investigation and kept Mike and Marcus away from it because two other investigators, Ruiz and Sanchez from the first movie, were put into it and they got killed. Howard warns the guys that the cartel have people working with the police and FBI. In prison, Armando is attacked by thugs on the inside sent by McGrath. Mike argues that Armando should be carried by chopper. Unfortunately, McGrath and his goons have already seized the helicopter and forced the pilot to make a distress transmission blaming Mike and Marcus for the attack before McGrath cuts his throat. McGrath flees with several of his men, leaving the helicopter to crash. Mike and Marcus fight the remaining guys while attempting to keep Armando from flying out of the open hatchback. After they free him, Armando helps them make a crash landing into a lake. Authorities survey the crash site and receive the distress message, so Mike, Marcus, and Armando are all labeled wanted fugitives, while McGrath puts out a large bounty on their heads to every gangster in Miami. Mike and Marcus follow Armando's instructions on how to be on the run, which Marcus sees as an opportunity for Mike to reconnect with his son, but neither is interested in connecting and is only concerned with clearing their reputations. They come upon a trailer park and try to swipe clothes from some rednecks, but they are discovered and held at gunpoint before Armando hotwires a truck and gets them out of there. After returning to Miami, the truck breaks down. Mike contacts Tabitha and agrees to meet at her club in exchange for guns, clothing, and a vehicle. When they arrive, Tabitha appears to assist them, but is actually stalling to get other criminals in there to bring the three out for the bounty. Just as they are led outside, rival gangsters arrive to shoot the captors, including Manny the butcher, who wants to retaliate against Mike for shattering his hand with a meat hammer. Manny's ambitions are short-lived as the guys board a van and crush Manny into another car, and he then gets hit with a Molotov cocktail. The three drive away and shoot at the incoming gangsters, but Judy also pursues and tries to fire at Armando. The three then jump from the van as the engine catches fire and explodes. Mike, Marcus, and Armando arrive at Dawn's house, where they discover that he has a secret relationship with Kelly. While they are not thrilled to be assisting Armando, they agree to assist Mike and Marcus in sorting through mountains of evidence in order for Armando to identify McGrath. They eventually get someplace after discovering him on security tape. Dawn digs up McGrath's history, learning that he and his team were taken hostage by the cartel, and he gave them up after being tortured, leaving him as the only survivor. Mike contacts Rita and informs her about McGrath. Moments later, the boys notice on Dawn's security cameras in both their homes that McGrath has sent men to get Christine and Marcus's family. While Mike tries to contact Christine, Marcus gets in touch with Reggie and warns him about the incoming threat. Reggie hides Teresa, Megan, and little Marcus while he collects his gun and uses his combat firearms talents to take down 15 bad guys and keep the family safe. Meanwhile, Christine is visited by Callie, who wanted to offer help in proving Mike and Marcus's innocence, but McGrath's goons have already made their way inside. McGrath phones Mike and informs him that he will return Christine and Callie unharmed provided he surrenders Armando and all of Howard's proof. Armando is willing to turn himself in, but Mike has another idea since he knows who has been feeding McGrath information on all of their whereabouts. Mike calls Rita again while she is with Lockwood to tip her off. She tells him she's going to the station, and he insists on joining her. As they go down the elevator, Rita confirms that Lockwood is working with McGrath. Lockwood tries to kill her, but Kelly and Dawn come just in time and stop him. They persuade Lockwood to talk long enough and reveal his motivation profiting from cartel association so that Mike can put up a call, pretending as Lockwood to McGrath to arrange a meeting. Mike tells Marcus, Armando, Rita, Kelly, and Dawn that they are the only ones that each other can trust right now. The heroes arrange to meet the villains at a former alligator park, said to be home to a huge albino alligator named Duke. They have an aircraft arrive to carry McGrath out with Christine and Callie, but when Mike is shooting at McGrath, he has another panic episode and believes he will hit Christine. The gators in the water then begin to approach Armando's area, alerting McGrath that someone is there. Before one goon can detect him, Armando shoots him before he falls into the water and is eaten by the gators. Mike goes after McGrath and Christine, while Lockwood makes an escape attempt. The others engage in a shootout with McGrath's guys. Lockwood attempts to hijack the plane for himself, but Rita shoots it down and the plane crashes into the building. Lockwood shoots Dawn in the arm and attempts to shoot Rita, but she kicks him into a pit, which happens to be where Duke lives, and Lockwood becomes Duke's dinner. Meanwhile, Armando protects Callie from McGrath's other men, killing them before taking her to safety. At the same moment, Mike snaps out of his panic attack when he sees his own vision of Captain Howard, telling him to forgive himself for thinking it was his fault that Howard got killed. Marcus finds himself on the same beach he saw in his vision, only for McGrath to capture him. When Mike arrives, McGrath orders him to select whether Marcus or Christine should die. Mike shoots Marcus in his vest to get a clear shot at McGrath, blasting him full of lead before blowing his head off. Judy then finds Armando and intends to execute him, but Callie steps in and informs her that he saved her life. Judy relents and allows Armando to leave, and Mike assists Armando in finding an escape route. As officials arrive at the crime scene and arrest McGrath's remaining accomplices, news reports indicate that Howard has been officially exonerated. Mike, Marcus, and their loved ones gather at the park for a barbecue. While Mike and Marcus argue about who gets to cook what on the grill, Reggie presents his chicken and asks if he can grill. The bad boys laugh him off for a moment before remembering that Reggie killed McGrath's henchmen and saved the family, so they agree to back off this time. Reggie then delivers a delighted smile.